It's that time again! It's the Berkey and the Badger Board Game Babble Show. It's gonna get wild, it's gonna get wacky, it might even get a little zany. We're gonna talk about board games and the board game industry. And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about.
Yay!
Whoa.
We're back. How are you doing, my friend? It's Berkey and Badger back on the Board Game Babble Show.
Yay! We're babbling like babblers. Whee! I got a high-pitched voice. It must be this tea. And it's very good to hear tea. I drink tea.
like your high voice.
Well, I like my high voice.
I prefer my Julia Child voice. All you need is a little bit of butter and rum. And don't forget to massage the chicken.
And I prefer my Snagglepuss. Exit, stage left. Hello, people. Welcome to the
Well, I tell you, this is going to be a fun show. We've already started off goofy.
Well, I've had more than my fair shares of cups of tea today. I've been very English. Very, very English today.
Well, I have my good cup of coffee, and I'm ready to go, too. Well, this is my good friend, Barry the White Grilling Double.
And that there is my friend, Mr. Kevin Workhardschmeyer.
Workhardschmeyer.
Yes.
Well, I call you the White because on Facebook I saw that fantastic picture of Barry the White. Now he's Barry, of course, you're English, but you have quite fair skin out in the sun grilling your Happy Mouth grilling wares.
I am actually tanned very well, thank you very much, because I have Italian blood and French blood inside me somehow. And I brown very quickly, but I have to, when I work outside in the vineyards, okay, I have to explain this. I work outside in the vineyards, and it is security procedure to have a t-shirt at all time and long trousers at all time, even when the sun is tapping 30 degrees, which I think is 78 Celsius Fahrenheit for you guys. So my head browns and the ends of my arm go brown as well. So, yeah, there is a good comparison between my neck and my torso. If you're listening to the podcast, you're missing out.
Look at the torso.
Yeah, you're missing my torso.
We like Barry's torso.
Underneath my Star Trek t-shirt.
Live long and prosper.
Yeah, so what I call him Workhardschmeyer, because he's got a lot of contracts lined up for doing some brick fascia work, I think it is.
Yeah, I just finished up an exterior stone installation on a building, and now I'm going to be doing an 18-foot tall fireplace. It's actually indoors, though, but it's a pretty good-sized job. And lots of things going on, conventions, doing board game theater, doing a podcast. It's been a lot of work, but having a good time, and we are excited.
Yeah, so why don't we talk about what we've been doing then in the board game world, because this is a board game podcast, unlike the last one, which wasn't much of a board game podcast. Thank you, lad.
It was awesome.
It was an alaboom. Let's talk about whatever we want. Oh, there's an ant on the floor. I like the way that he walks around in circles there. He's very good at walking in circles. But no.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, last episode we had Lance Meister, the Undead Viking, and it was such a great time having Lance on the show. And but if you've ever listened to Lance, the show became Lancified, and we got to talk about all kinds of fun topics. He's so enjoyable to listen to. I had a lot of great feedback of that.
Yeah.
But today on today's Board Game Babble Show, we're going to devote this entire show just to talking about conventions. We kind of got into that a little bit on the last show. That's why we're calling this episode
kind of
episode 26, Daja Vue, and we're going to talk about origins. We're going to talk about Peri de Ludici. Pierre, yes, does your dog bite? That's not my dog.
Yes.
Oh, and also the recent Dice Tower Con experience. So, Barry, tell us a little bit about what you were we're going to go right into this segment now. First, our news segment.
Are we?
Called,
let's
go into our news segment.
Oh.
No, let's don't do it. Yeah, let's do it. So, what do you?
I wanted to talk about what I've been doing.
What have you been doing?
I've just been playing Descent with my daughter with the app. Really fun.
Oh, cool.
But no. I've been working on a Kickstarter video, which is coming up. I just wanted to do a little plug. It's a game called Vampire Hunters by Dark Gate Games. It's going to be on Kickstarter sometime next week. It's a miniatures game where you play a group of vampire hunters breaking into a vampire lair, and you have to wipe them out or do an objective of some sort. Maybe kill the head honcho or rescue some humans that have been captured by the vampires. And it's a cooperative game. You have to work against the clock because you start off in the daytime staking the vampires quite easily, but when nighttime comes, the game becomes a different kind of monster, and the vampires are pretty ferocious afterwards. So that's what I've been working on. It's taken me a good week and a half to get a video together, but that will be coming up soon. So that's what I've been doing in the board game world so far.
So did you actually have you finished the video for that?
The video is finished. It's posted, but you can't see it until the guys, Filippo, tells me that I can put it on. So as I said, the Kickstarter will be starting on the 19th of July 2016, just in case you're listening to this podcast way in the future, or you're watching this video in the past. Anywho.
And what is the name of the company again?
It's Dark Gate Games.
Dark Gate Games.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
So look out for that.
Check it out.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been finishing up on a video. There was one thing that we just uploaded to our YouTube channel, but we filmed Board Game Theater episode of Baseball Highlights 2045, designed by Mike Fitzgerald and published by Eagle Griffin Games. Now, Baseball Highlights last year was my second favorite game. Blood Rage took first, but Baseball Highlights too. Yep, there you go. Baseball Highlights 2045. Hey, maybe we can beat the Dukes of Dice and how many times we do a name mention. So, Baseball Highlights 2045. It's a great asymmetrical card game where you're playing back and forth. It has deck building elements. Fantastic game. But we did a video of this for Board Game Theater. But one thing that a lot of people don't know is that Mike Fitzgerald's daughter, Lauren, is an accomplished writer. And she wrote this backstory of the entire universe of Baseball Highlights 2045. Ding.
Oh, sorry, I'm reading comments now.
So, oh, that one. Now it's a doorbell. Honey, would you get the door? So anyway, Lauren Fitzgerald, she wrote this beautiful backstory, and we had none other than Bob Boxfart, Board Game Inspector himself, do a formal reading of this backstory. It's only about 6 minutes long. He's in his easy chair, and we've developed a little video just to do honor to Lauren and Mike for this fantastic story, talking about the naturals and how the Magna Glove came into play and how he could compete in this universe of the futuristic baseball, competing with robots and cyborgs. Beautiful story. If you haven't had a chance to look at it, go to boardgametheater.com. You can subscribe there. You can see that video. Also have it on Facebook. But if you like that game at all, you like Mike Fitzgerald, or you just like a nice story, highly recommend that. So go ahead and take a look at that. And so with that, we are going to go right into our segment, Things That Make You Go, Mmm.
Let's read my show notes.
So Barry, what things in the news have been making you go,
Well, I am a great lover of film. I love films, and I love directors that have these fantastic ideas. And one of those films that encapsulated me when I was very young was the Evil Dead series by Sam Raimi, because they were phenomenal. They tapped into a bit of the horror, which I was growing up at that stage enjoying, but it also tapped into the very humorous slapstick world that I also love doing as in theatre. And just recently on Kickstarter, there is a Kickstarter for an official Evil Dead board game. And this made me go, because I like Evil Dead a lot. And I'm hoping that this board game, as you can see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that. Okay. And for those of you listening to the podcast, it's up on Kickstarter. There's 27 days to go as we're recording this. It's got over 3,000 backers. It's made $250,000, and that is primarily on the name alone, I believe. I am very skeptical about this game. These guys, the guys called Space Goat Productions, they're a comic book group that have the rights to make an Evil Dead comic book, and this board game feels like a tacked on thing which they can get money from. It feels like the gameplay that I've seen from a video, it doesn't look that great and amazing. It looks like a kind of, you know, movement points, pick up a card, and hopefully it's the card that you need to help win the game kind of experience, which is yeah, so I'm a bit curious to see where this is going to go. So I'm going to be watching it with eagle eyes. You know, if you're watching this or listening to this podcast and you know anything about this Evil Dead board game and you're excited about it, let us know how you feel about it, the way it's been presented, the way that it's up on Kickstarter and got so much money. I mean, I'm you know, I would like it to be a success, obviously, but I am, as I said, skeptical. The way it's been run is, I'm not saying, hey, send me a copy and I'll do a video for you. I'm not saying that at all, but, you know, it just doesn't look like it's, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't look like it's going to be much copy. It looks like they've got the rights and they're just going to plug this game out because it's going to help them get money and also publicize their comic book. But,
well, it seems like in the world of Kickstarter, if you publish and make great miniatures, you have a zombie theme or you have a Cthulhu theme, it seems like it's just instant money for some reason, and the gameplay isn't the main factor. In a lot of cases, I think a lot of people, it's just an instant moneymaker. People love those themes. But there's a lot of really good zombie games. There's a lot of good miniatures games. So it's hard to muddle through all of that sometime. But from what you're viewing of it, that's just your initial thoughts.
Yeah. And I've got a couple of people online who are agreeing with me as well. So I am not alone, which is nice to know. Yeah, the artwork, it looks a bit disjointed. The miniatures look different from the card art. The card art looks different from other card art. And it's like... you know, like
maybe it would be better if you were able to have your zombie soundtrack that you produced. Then maybe it would be just perfect.
Okay, Last Night from The Balance of Power. There we have it. I've publicized myself.
I don't know if anybody know about that anyway, Barry. You haven't advertised that much, but Barry has some soundtracks for. Yeah, there it is. Last Night. These sounds are fantastic, and the way he's mixed them, we didn't plan about talking about that, but if you need some good soundtracks for your games that give you a hodgepodge of different sounds that randomize, it's really awesome. Barry's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, for horror games, you wouldn't play Carcassonne with that, seriously.
Oh, I do. Ticket to Ride, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to buy Root with 4 blues.
Yeah, that's the sound that happens when I take my wife's track, because I know something's going to blow up.
Okay. So what's been making you go then, Berkey?
Well, I was recently at Dice Tower Con. We're going to talk about that a little more, but they had the Dice Tower Awards. And without going into all the nominees and all the categories, I'm going to just briefly give you a quick overview. And I had one thing that made me go, that I think deserves talking about. But the best small publisher went to the game Stockpile by Nauvoo Games. Fantastic game, designed by Beth Sorbel and Seth Van Orden. Fantastic, great little stock game. Best party game, yeah, you know, Code Names, Check Games, Bottle Shabattle. I posted this all on my Twitter channel at Kimpeck as well.
Yeah, I should have done that as well. Kimpeck. There you go.
Kimpeck. Best game artwork went to Ashes, Rise of the Phoenixborn. That's Plaid Hat Games, designed by Isaac Vega.
That was surprising.
Yeah, that artwork is amazing. That's David Richards and Fernanda Suarez. Best game components, and I want to come back to this one. But best game components.
So when you do it at the end, it'd be best.
What?
When you put that at the end.
Because I'm stupid. What do you mean? Okay, so best board game components went to Blood Rage, designer Eric Lang. Cool Mini or not. Best game from a new designer was Time Stories, published by Asmodee, Peggy Chassanet and Manuel Rozoy. Boy, I'm so bad. This is horrible. Best two-player game, Seven Wonders Duel. Antoine Baza and Bruno Cathala.
You got them right.
That's Repos Production. Best innovative game, again, went to Time Stories.
Yeah.
Best cooperative game, Pandemic Legacy, Season 1.
Ooh.
Best theming went to Time Stories.
Oh.
I thought you were going to say zombie. Okay.
Zombies. Yeah, Time Zombies, yeah.
Best game expansion went to the new Ticket to Ride map collection, United Kingdom and Pennsylvania.
Yeah, not too bad, that. I like that.
Yeah, that was pretty fantastic. Best game reprint went to Through the Ages, a new story of civilization by Vlado Shavato and Czech Games. Best family game, and the winner is Codenames.
Yay!
Czech Games, Vlado Shavato. Best strategy game, Blood Rage for glory, for Valhalla.
You got shares in these two games, Codenames and Blood Rage, because you've been doing nothing but plugging them since we started this show, it seems. Not this show now, but, you know, every single podcast. It's like, oh, yeah.
Yes, I do. The publishers don't know it yet, though. and Game of the Year. This was a very rich. Oh boy, this was a tough one. A lot of fantastic games. Any other year, it was just remarkable.
Okay.
The best game of the year, 2016.
I don't know what this is. I haven't looked.
Blah, 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 blah. Dice Tower Awards. Game of the year, 2016. Pandemic Legacy, Season 1. Yay!
Okay, I'll do that, Sean.
I'm not very happy about that. I knew it wasn't going to win because of Time Stories and Pandemic, but I really was, my vote, and I was part of that process, was Blood Rage. For me, that was my favorite game of the year. I just love it. I think it's very well designed, and overall the production is amazing. Okay, back to Blood Rage.
But what were you going to say? Yeah.
Yeah, I know this is a little long segment here on the things that go but the thing that made me go about best board game components is Blood Rage is a miniatures game. And in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, it seems that miniatures games are going to have a step up against another game when it comes to components. You might have a game that has amazing artwork, might have beautiful design layout, and have good quality components. Maybe have a unique mechanism with the cardboard or something like Potion Explosion with a little tray or something of that nature, or flip them up for a minute, for instance. Blood Rage, because the miniatures are so amazing, the artwork is good. It's almost like a shoe-in because of component quality. I would like to see a separate miniatures category, because then that would include other games that feature these fantastic miniatures. And it's not just Cool Mini then. You've got Fantasy Flight, you've got Games Workshop, you have other companies that come into play. And then Best Board Game Components gives that company that does that something just special with their game that actually gets a component rating.
Yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, components are components of the game. Minis are minis. So why don't they do two different categories? You know, as you say, I vote for Potion Explosion because there you go. I've given it away, but it is a really nice, unique tool to use while playing the game. It's a great component, and that's why I believe it should have won. Whereas minis, you've seen minis in millions of games, and what's the difference between the mini from any Cool Mini or Not game to another Cool Mini or Not game? You know, if they bring out 4 games, the list might as well just be those 4 games, and it's like, well, come on, components are components, minis are minis. I do believe, like you, they are a separate compartment all to themselves.
Well, and I don't know, I like Rum and Bones. I think that might have been 2014. I might be wrong. But if it, there you've got amazing miniatures, great artwork, great design, layout. But so many of these new games have modular game boards that are very cool. And those games might get a little bit overlooked because of miniatures. But I would love to have a category of miniatures, because then the art, we get a lot of play now with designers getting recognition on the game boxes. You're starting to see artists a little bit become recognized, maybe not as much as they deserve. But what about the sculptors, the people who are making these miniatures? That's as much of an artwork, and they I think should get some recognition, plus the publisher who actually makes that come to fruition. Yeah, definitely. Well, that's our segment of things that make you go, So we are going to jump right in to our Knights of Babblot.
So do you think if Codenames had minis, it would win?
I guess we're not going into our Knights of Babblot segment. the new Codenames minis game.
Yeah, picture.
You're going to have a lot of editing on this show.
I'm going to have a lot of editing.
Yeah, but I'm
used to it.
You're going to make it so much better.
Yeah, I'm so used to it now after Lance. Yes. I need tea. I need a cup of tea. Yeah.
There's a wise old Merlin in the Knights of Babblot.
He is he? Is that me then? We haven't decided, have we? A wise old Merlin. Let me do this then. In this segment, I'm going to try and do Saruman, I think. Maybe. In this segment, we will be looking at a game that we have both played and seeing if it is worthy enough to enter the Kingdom of Babblot. And today's game is going to be none other than the Sheriff of Nottingham.
The Sheriff, the good Sheriff of Nottingham.
That was more like Gandalf than Saruman, I think. Sorry,
I think Gandalf with a cold and maybe slightly drunk.
And 3 teeth missing.
Well, basically what we do on the Knights of Babblot, we each are going to give a little bit of insight on how to play the game Sheriff of Nottingham. We're going to explain how you play the game, what we think about the game, and then we're going to give it a rating. And by giving it individual scores, we're going to score it from 0 to 5. If we rate the game a 5, That means that we absolutely love, we must own it, and that we'll play it whenever possible. Number 4 rating is a very good. We want it in our collection. We love to play it numerous times, just not quite a 5. A 3 means it's a really good game. We'll play it occasionally, but it's not a must-have. If we rate it a 2, it means, well, we see some problems with it. We're not really excited to play it again and really don't care to own it. And if we rate it a 1, we hate it. Hate, hate, hate. That's a strong word. Hate, hate, hate. We'll throw it off the roof, we'll burn it, and we don't care what anybody thinks about us burning it. Do you think that'll ever happen?
No. I've got no matches in the house, so I can't.
We need to get a really bad game, Barry, and do it.
All right, we have to get a bad game. We have to both play a bad game.
Really bad game. So we're basically going to come together, and then we will have a combined score. And if we both rank a game a 5, we don't know each other's rankings of this game. We might have an impression, but if we both rank it a 5, it gets a 10, and it makes it to the board game table of Babblelot. So Barry, bring us into the discussion of The Sheriff of Nottingham by Arcane Wonders, designed by Sergio Halaban.
Okay.
And Brian Pope.
Okay. The Sheriff of Nottingham is a game for 3 to 5 players, and the objective of the game is to make the most money as possible by lying or being totally honest about passing your goods past a sheriff. Each round, someone will take on the role of the sheriff, and it'll be their responsibility to inspect the goods that these other merchants are coming to the city of Nottingham with. In the game, you can bribe, you can lie, you can cheat, and you're basically just trying to say that you've got 3 rolls of chicken in your... Hello.
Make it stop! Make it stop!
There you go, stopped. Rewind. And so you're basically trying to get goods past the sheriff, either legally or illegally. And if you inspect your bag, if you've got totally legal goods in there and everything that you've declared, he will have to pay you. But if he inspects your bag and you sneak some illegal items in, he will make you pay a forfeit. Yeah.
Pepper, and of course, mead.
So the game will go around a few rounds, and what will happen is at the end of the game, player with the most money and who has collected the most of certain types of merchandise. So if you're the owner of most chickens, you'll get an extra bonus. And player with the most is the winner. That's it in a nutshell, baby.
Right, that's basically it. Hey, that was a nice nutshell.
Yeah.
You have, I have 4 bags, 4 apples in my bag.
So what do you think about the components then, Bertie?
Well, this is something that probably most people don't have. But can you see this?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. Ah. Ooh.
That's podcast listeners. It's actually a mini of the Sheriff of Nottingham. It's probably your first player marker.
Because the Sheriff of Nottingham is a miniatures game, of course.
You're actually putting chickens, little plastic chickens, into the bag, and so the sheriff can actually feel if it's chickens or not.
Oh, we're supposed to do plastic ones? I always did the live ones, but they're so messy.
But that would be a great expansion. You actually have physical minis of the stuff that you're trying to sneak in or not sneak in, or just, there you go. And then the sheriff has to feel the bag and has to deduct if it's a barrel of mead and 3 chickens, or if it's, there's an idea for Arcane Wonders. When you see Bill Pope, tell him, I've got a great idea for a new version.
I'll tell Bill Pope that. It's Brian Pope.
Oh, Brian Pope, yeah. Bill Pope.
But I'm going to call him Bill next time anyway.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about components. No, seriously, the miniature was at last year at Gen Con. They just had a few of these. I got to get this thing painted up. But you have a first player marker, which is a standee that everybody gets to be the sheriff one time. So this is basically a bluffing game. And if you like bluffing games, this is one of the best ones, I think, for as far as that bluffing mechanism, because there's so many different ways that you can go with it. But basically, the components you'll see here. This is the silk merchant. You notice the picture that we showed up. That was my daughter Maddie. See if you can pop that up, Barry.
Okay.
This is the silk merchant. All right. So you can see that costume. Now look at Maddie. You can see that that is the same costume that was designed. We actually, our first inaugural edition episode of Board Game Theater was the Sheriff of Nottingham. So we have these elaborate costumes that duplicated this artwork. The thing that I want to say about the components is that the cardstock is decent quality. The bags are good quality. They had one batch where there was a few of the bags that the green bags had a bad snap, but Arcane Wonders is like, you'll see all kinds of feedback on a few people who had some issues, and they replaced it with, they just totally went out of their way to make everything right. But this bag, for instance, they had a machine that actually opened and closed it 500 times to make sure that these snaps were durable. Anyway, that's kind of a cool thing. There's also really great player boards. They include, you can see I'm showing the picture here on radio, you won't be able to see this, but there's really great player aids and turn orders. So you can see the market phase where you reload your hand. You can also see where you load the merchant bag, and then when you make a declaration of what you have, and then the inspection phase where you are the sheriff, and then the end of the round. And these are really thick, chunky cardboard, which is really designed well. I did an interview with Brian Pope last year at Gen Con, and Brian, you know, is a successful businessman, and this is, you know, he's very committed to Arcane Wonders as well. But he started this out almost as a hobby business. But one of the things that he said was that I will only make great games, and if that takes me a little longer to produce it, that's what it's going to be, because I want them to be great. He didn't want to just slap stuff out to make a quick buck. He wants things to be great, and that's the commitment that Arcane Wonders put into their product, and it's very evident, in my opinion, in this game. It's got cardboard money, but I got these awesome coins. Yeah, these are the best damn gaming coins, and they've got kind of that medieval feel, and it's just perfect for this game. So I tricked out my Sheriff of Nottingham just a little bit, and then and as soon as I get this miniature painted, we're really in like filling. That's my opinion about components.
Yeah, I would agree with most of what you said. The cardboard components are not too bad. The card quality, the card art is very nice, very great. The card holder, which you get inside the box, which holds the cards for when you play, is a bit annoying. It's a bit finicky. But apart from that, everything is pretty good in components wise. And shame about the
you know, I think you're really right. That's a good point, because this insert is a really nice insert to travel with and to have the game in. But when you pull out this tray,
sorry, Jesse, I can't pronounce. Jesse Shake has just put Berkey is the pimp master.
I'm the gaming pimp master. That's better, master.
The ultimate blinged out version. Thank you, dyslexia kicking in. Kabuki Kid.
Kabuki Kid, I love that guy. I think it's a gal though.
You think it's a gal?
I think it is.
I've
heard him on the other show. Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't mean any offense. It's awesome. But they're out. She watches a lot of shows, and I hear them commenting. Thanks for the comments, by the way. Yeah. Hey, this is the insert. Look at this. It's plastic, and you can pull it out. The only problem with it is they're kind of high, and so it's really hard to get at the cards.
Yeah.
So this would be great to have a little custom insert for this game that could easily facilitate the discard pile. Because what happens in every turn when we start to we're going to have this turn order where we're going to go to market. And what that means is we are going to charge some cards from our hand. This is what's great about this game. We might have contraband in our hand, but to try to trick people into the sheriff and others to think that we're honest merchants bringing goods into Prince John's feast, what we may do is we might discard 2 of those contraband, say, I'm a good merchant, sir, and I will discard this, only looking for good goods to come into the kingdom. And as we do that, I may draw other ones, but I may have withheld a very special contraband card that would garner me really large points. That all happens during that market phase, and we are loading our merchant bags at that time. So one thing about the game is when you load your merchant bags, you must tell the truth about how many goods you are bringing into to the feast. If you have 4 apples, for instance, you can declare, going into the declaration phase, declare that you have 3 apples. I have 3 apples, sir. You cannot lie. You can't have 2 cards in the deck, in the pouch, or 4 cards. You must have 3.
I have 1 apple just underneath my chin there.
So that's basically how you're going to load your bag, but that's where the game gets very interesting. So what do you think about the declaration phase?
What do I think about the declaration phase? You're talking about the game mechanic itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game mechanic is a very, it's a skeleton for what the players put on top of the game mechanic, which makes this game either a really great, fun time or a kind of what the hell is going on. It is a rough structure, and it's the players that bring the game to the table. It's the game that comes out of them. If they interact with each other, if they role play a little bit as well. You know, my daughter, when we play with my daughter, she picks up the bag and, oh, that doesn't smell like cheese. She does things like that, and that brings out a few giggles, and it gets people into the theme, and people start to play along, and that's when the game really kicks off. But as I said, it is a skeleton. If you play with a couple of bad players or people that don't grasp the concept or don't understand the theme or don't get into the theme, the game can feel a bit flat and uneventful. And, you know, someone could be there the whole time at the table and just put green cards in and say, oh, I've got 4 apples.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Your gaming group, I've played this game, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 times. I've played it with a variety of different people, especially at conventions and so forth. In most cases, especially in a convention setting, I've had people who really get immersed in the theme of the game. They feel that whole merchant aspect, and they see the sheriff, and they're interacting just like you said your daughter does, and they start just kind of naturally flowing into character. But I had one experience where there was one individual just totally straight, and you can play the game straight, you can play it honest without any bluffing, and that's actually a viable strategy. But it lessens the fun factor if someone's just kind of bored with that kind of bluffing and they're not a real social person. And so this is definitely a social immersive game. This is a game where people are drawn into it, and it's not, I wouldn't classify it as party game, but it has that kind of experience where everybody is engaged. And for me, that's a huge plus.
Yeah, as I said, a lot of the game is actually on the players. It's not actually on the table itself. A lot of it's on the body language, the communication, as well as, you know, maybe putting a few extra coins on your sack. So I mean, for this game to really work, the mechanics to really shine, you need at least 2 people that are going to push the theme onto the other players. Otherwise, this game just kind of falls flat, unfortunately. So from the mechanism point of view, it is just a skeleton for the game. It's like Werewolf or Resistance. And have I got time to tell you about a really bad experience I had with Resistance the other day?
Go ahead.
Okay, we played Resistance the other day. There were 5 other players with me. There's 6 of us, and we had a couple of newbies, and one of them was a bit slow on the uptake. And we explained the blue card and the red card. The blue card is the resistance. We're French, you know, you're French people. You should understand. Resistance is blue, okay? So which means that you're working against the government. And the red card is for Francois Hollande. That was the only thing I could think of which, you know, was negative. And people were like, oh yeah, everyone hates Francois Hollande. So anyway, so I explained all this, I explained the rules, we started playing. People were a bit unsure about the playing at the beginning, and then this person who I said was a bit slow on the uptake, they said, okay, my card's red, what should I do? And he was like, oh, start again. We did a second round. And this time I had a red card, and I was like, okay, right. And I explained really slowly, blue is resistance, red is working for the government, and Mr. Hollande. Okay, right. Got it? Yeah, got it. Right, we played. And then the first round, the first mission was away. My wife and this person that was slow on the uptake were doing the first mission together. And the mission, I rejected it, but they went ahead and did it. And they revealed both their cards, and they were both fails. And then we carried on playing, because we thought, let's carry on playing just to get the feel of the game. And I totally forgot that I had a red card, and I was like all the way through the game saying, right, those two, don't give them a mission because they're the traitors. And I'm thinking, I wasn't thinking, actually, I wasn't thinking, mistake. And I was sent on a mission, and I turned in a success card, and then I was sent on another mission, and then I turned over a card, and it wasn't the success card, it was actually my character card, and it was a red card, and everyone just looked at me. I was so convinced it was these other two people that were the traitors, and it was actually me, the traitor. So that was a really bad experience. We didn't really enjoy the game. We just enjoyed each other's company, if you know what I mean, and the laugh that we had. People were crying because it was just going so wrong, and I was just really kind of deflated after the experience. And again, that kind of experience can happen with Sheriff of Nottingham, which means that I'm not going to give it a very high rating, I'm afraid to say, Berkey. Shock horror on his face. He's going to unfriend me now on Facebook. He's lost for words. He's lost for words.
Well, we went off track there, so I want to get back on track with the gameplay.
Okay, go on then. I'll sip my tea. Is he back on track yet? Is he back on track?
So.
Secret messages that you can't see and will hear. So. Okay.
We're going to have lots of editing here.
So back to the gameplay mechanics.
Okay. No, I think when it comes to the mechanics, I think that they've actually really done a good job. I know Sergio Halaban has worked a lot on the retheming of this game because it was originally Robin Hood, and then in addition to that, there was I think Brian Pope was involved in some of that to make the game be really streamlined, and I think even Tom Vassell had some input into the mechanics of the game. And while I think it is a little bit group dependent, I personally every time that we've played it, it has been very immersive. I was at BGG Con last year as the Sheriff of Nottingham, and we did a contest. This was really cool. And as I sat at the table, they were all trying to get goods in past me. And if they did so, if they got contraband passed, they got tickets to be in a drawing and so forth. They also, if they won the game, it would be really exciting. They got extra 5 tickets if they actually won the game for the drawing. But in almost every situation, the people I was in my character and in my voice, of course. So what they would do, they would just join right along, and we had these amazing experiences. Now, whenever we are with my family, of course, we jump into these character roles. And so while the mechanic maybe is fairly basic, it does involve people, I think, in the game. So I love the experience of the theme that comes out in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One thing that I think too, where the mechanic shines is the fact, for instance, if you start to understand the game rather than just playing it straight. I have 5 apples here, and then you put your 5 apples in to try to get the top bonus, the 20 points or the 10 points. The problem with it is, or not the problem, I mean, the thing that you can do in the bluff, if you are another player, you can say, listen, Sheriff, don't look at my bag, but I'll give you 2 coins to look in somebody else's bag.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, then the game starts to evolve. Because then people, no, don't look at my bag. Here's 3 coins. Well, why would you? And then the sheriff starts negotiating.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to look at both of your bags unless you give me 10 coins.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, this little double bluff situation starts to evolve. And if you're a poker player, you understand what's going on with that. And all of a sudden, this interesting meta inside game happens, and these players really start to join in.
Yeah, definitely. It's a game that when you start playing it with the right group of people, it starts developing into its own kind of monster, and you're in giggles all the time afterwards. You don't know if someone's telling the truth or not. Another good thing about the mechanics is it's quite well balanced. I've played games where I've done nothing but tell the truth all the way through, and have managed to get a win every now and again, which is great sensation. And again, I've seen games being played where someone lies practically most of the game, manages to get lots of contraband through, and actually manages to win as well. So there is the either end of the scale, the either really good person and the bad person that can win. But normally it's the majority which are in the middle, which seem to win. So definitely a good mechanic. It feels well balanced, and I've just been reading online by I can't do it. Kabuki Kid, that some of the promos players have been getting kind of throw the game out of whack a bit, because they get certain promos and there are a lot of contraband in them, and then the cards that you're drawing are not so good, if I'm reading that right.
Yeah, that's an interesting discussion. It'd be interesting to see what people think about the promos. I really like the promos that the Dice Tower came out with. And in these promos, you've got these extra dice, which provides a little bit of a gambling mechanism to it. But
I've got that as well.
Yeah, they're really cool. Each player will get one. I thought those were really neat. One thing that I really like about some of the promos is these royal goods. They have royal goods, which will be a multiplier. Like you might have the royal chicken, and it's a chicken. So when you say I've got 4 chickens, well, one of them might be a red contraband chicken, and that'll multiply. I forget the card. I think it multiplies each of your things by 2 or something.
Yeah, it counts as a double chicken.
Yeah, exactly. So it adds to your total for the king and queen bonuses in each category. And they have the green apples and things like that. And I like those. But there's some other ones that are in there that can get a little bit more confusing as far as initial play. Once you know them, then it's really fine. And if the other players know it, but you might be reading the card, and that would kind of tip it off a little bit that, oh, I got something here. So if you haven't played that regularly, you might want to pull those out until you're fluid with that part of the game. Another
good thing about the game is it comes with an app. You can download an app for free, and the app has a timer on it, so you can set the timer, because you're supposed to be negotiating after people have loaded up their bags, and you can set the timer to whatever you want, and then it has these background sounds. It sounds like a farmyard, but it's actually outside the palace, and you got people calling and animal noises, and it's really cool to play with. Unfortunately, when you've got a little tablet, the sound is a bit weedy, so you've got to plug it into a stereo, and I've just spat on my screen. Oh. So yeah, it's a very good app. Also, it has a score tracker on it as well. A very simple to use score tracker where you just tap in what cards you've got, and it works out the score. And it does it in a way, if I remember correctly, that it does like a drum roll before it reveals the answer. So you tap in all the players' cards, what they had, and it does and then it reveals the winner. So there's a bit of anticipation. There's a bit of a build up to a climax, and it's like, da-da, he won, and it's like perfect. That makes the game really, really great, having that app.
Yeah, that app is really great, and it's really good for scoring. For all those Apple bonuses, you know, the king and queen bonuses when you're adding everything up. Yeah, that's basically the game. Let's just go in and do our rating of the game. Again, we've got a 1 to 5 rating, and 5 is an absolute love, must own, and we went through all that, and 1 is that we hate it. So I'll go and give you my rating. I think you probably know, if this was one of the first episodes for Board Game Theater, my family has thoroughly enjoyed this game. To me, this is an absolute love. It's one of my top games of all times. It provides the immersive experience that we love. Games to us is just about fun, and we're able to jump into character. We love bluffing games, so it fits in that wheelhouse for me. I'll play it whenever possible. If anybody wants to, I was walking around Dice Tower Con and somebody was reading the rules and didn't know how to play it. I jumped right in, taught them how to play the game, sat down with them for a few minutes, and we just immediately started having fun. And that's been most of my experience with the game. So I'm giving it a 5. Now, Barry, you've already tipped your hat.
Yes.
So you have to tell me how you feel.
Now, how will I feel about it? Okay. I am somewhere between a 3 and a 4. A 3 is a good game, and I will play it occasionally. But that's due to the fact that, as I said, some groups and some people it won't go down well with at all. You really need people that are open-minded. You need people that are going to role play a bit as well. Otherwise, the game is a bit of a deflated balloon, and you're just like going through the numbers. And it's like, okay, do this, I'll pass the money. Okay, I got 4. Yeah, okay, then fine, blah, blah. And it's really deflating. In our 3 section, it says not a must-have, but for me, it is a must-have because I know that sometime I will fall across a group that I will play it again and again and again with, because for me, it is a game that I really want to play. It's one of those games that appeals to me. This bluffing factor. I'm not very good at lying. That's why I always kind of like play the good cards. So I really enjoy this game. I have it in my collection, but it's not a game that I'm going to play numerous times and not with everybody. Again, the player count of 3 is not great for this game. You have to play it with 5. 5 is the best count. And if you haven't got the app, the final scoring is a bit tedious as well. So you won't let me do a 3.5, will you?
No split ratings.
Well, because it's split in the categories there. I'll go with 4 because it is a game that I like playing, and when I hit it with the right group of people, it is a tremendous laugh. Although, as I said, you will have problems with some players that won't grasp the concept, or they won't put their heart into the game, and the game will feel a bit flat. And as I said, the scoring is a bit long if you don't have the app. But apart from that, it's a really great game. And as I said, it's a skeleton that the game is put on by you, the player. So if you play with good people, this is a great game to have.
Yeah, I think that's a really great perspective too. So it's a 4 for you, but it's a light 4, whereas mine is a wholehearted 5. But I totally do agree with you, because I do think it is group dependent a little bit. The game can play fine straight, but I don't think if I played with just straight people, I probably would not have that kind of experience. So
no, I played it with my mum, and it just died.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mum.
Well, there you go. The Sheriff of Nottingham did not make it to the Board Game Table of Babblot. I actually thought you liked this game even a higher notch. I thought we were going to have our first entry into the Board Game Table of Babblot. That's why you got my response.
I do like it. I do like it. But as I said, there are things about it which will unfortunately may ruin the event, like the Resistance. I love playing Resistance. I've played it about 20 times, and every time it's been hilarious fun. But we played it that once, and we didn't really play the game, but we had just a good time, a social, experience together and laugh. And so were we playing the game or were we not playing the game and just having a laugh at each other? So as I said, it depends on your group, and it has a few bugs. So I being a reviewer, I have to, point out all the pros and cons about everything. So in my experience, of course.
Well, basically, we're giving a combined rating of a 9, which actually is a really high rating. Sheriff of Nottingham by Arcane Wonders, designed by Sergio Halaban, Brian Pope. And we're going to move right on to our Babble topic, Daja Vue.
Ooh, Babble.
Babble. Babble.
Babble. Babble. Babble. Babble. Babble. Babble. Babble. Berkey and Badger's Board Game Babble.
Well, today we're going to be babbling about conventions. The reason why we called it Daja Vue is because last episode we went off the Holy Grail. With Lance Meister. You'll notice, for those of you audio listeners, I'm holding up the DVD version of Monty Python's The Holy Grail. Well, guess what? Kevin Burgardsmeyer had never watched The Holy Grail. And Lance Meister and Barry Dublé last episode made sure the whole world knew about it. The whole episode.
Holy crap.
Holy crap. So the shrink wrap is still on, but this is going to be getting several viewings, and you are going to be hearing some wonderful thematic comments from Sir Berkey in the future.
Okay, so it's going immediately on your shelf of shame.
Yes, it's still in shrink. No, seriously, we just had so much fun talking with Lance, but we talked about all kinds of awesome things. But this, we felt like we still wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the conventions experiences that we had. And in addition to that, I just got back from Dice Tower Con, have some fun stories that I want to share with you. And we're also going to incorporate our good, the not so bad, and the ugly segment in some of the games that we've actually played. So with that, Barry, let me ask you, where were you at as far as the conventions we're at?
I was at Paris et Ludique, which is Playful Paradise. My association is called Paradis Ludique, which is Playful Paradise, but Paris et Ludique is Playful Paris for the Paris. Yeah. So I was at Playful Paris a couple of weeks ago. And it was an open air event where all the big French publishers were there. There were small publishers as well. There were small publishers like Catch Up Games, but there was also big ones like Madigo and other Asmodee, Yellow, so on and so on and so on and so on. But what was I going to say? Yeah, it was a big open air event, and people were demonstrating their new games. There was mini section. There was, I've got the catalog here somewhere. Is the catalog. There was a mini section. There was actually a Quidditch terrain. They were playing Quidditch, from Harry Potter. They all had the broomsticks in between their legs, and they were running around with balls trying to score in the goal. Really strange.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was a great multi-terrain as well. There was multi-tournaments. There was tournaments. There was a Dr. Eureka tournament, as well as your Seven Wonders tournament, which I'm bored of already. Deary me. Everyone was there, and there were over 13,000 attendees over the weekend, and it was a lovely, sunny, hot day.
Yeah, because this was all outside and intense and all of that type of thing.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And it was intense. Intense.
It looked beautiful. It looked beautiful.
Yeah, it was a
kind of looked like that pavilion type of feel.
Mm. And where have you been, Berkey?
Well, a few weeks ago we were at the Origins Game Fair in Columbus, Ohio. Origins was just a fantastic experience for me. There was about 16,000 people that attended. I would call it, like a mini Gen Con in a sense. Gen Con last year had 67,000 people, so there was a lot more going on there at Gen Con, obviously, but you got the experience of a lot of the major vendors were there, and they were demoing their games, they were selling their games. Tasty Minstrel had the guild or the Guilds of London sold out in 16 minutes. They had Orleans Deluxe, which sold out in an hour. So that same feeling that you get at Gen Con, where the hot new titles are there, they're showing these off, you get that. But then the gaming experience was so much more immersive, I felt, at Origins, because it wasn't so crowded. You could easily navigate anywhere you wanted to go, and that was all good. And so I thought that was really fantastic. The feel of the con was great. In addition to that, the food around Origins at all these hotels. We went to this place called Double Comfort, which served these chicken fried pork chops that were breaded and fried and over a bed of potatoes. And I mean, some of these food choices that we had were fantastic. We went to the Secret Cabal meetup that was held at the Gordon Bruce Brewery or whatever. Had a really wonderful steak and hung out with people and just had a really, really great time with meeting all the people there. I had probably one of my highlights of that trip was to be able to spend some time with my good friends from Blue Peg, Pink Peg, Rob, Patrick, and I finally got to meet Christina. Heard her on the podcast and seen her evolving as a gamer on the show, listening, and she's so endearing, and I just love her, love all of them. And we went to this board game cafe called Kingmakers. They have custom craft beers, and we could play games. You paid a fee for it, but we played Isle of Skye. Yeah, and we played the old copy of I just lost it. I was gonna Raw, and now Fantasy Flight has got a new version of it. But we just had such an awesome time together, and there was just so many wonderful highlights, and I really liked Origins. Origins, I think, is going to be on my must-attend list from here going forward.
Okay.
With that, I also went to Dice Tower Con, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we move before. Yeah, ta-da, first name mentioned, Dice Tower. So who did you meet at your convention?
Who did I meet? Excuse me. Okay, I may take a little time here because I have to flick through the names here. I met a designer by the name of Gislan Masson. I think I pronounced that correct. He's just created his first game for Geek Attitude Games, who bring out Essen and Taverna. And I didn't manage to play his game. I managed to chat to him. He discovered that I was English, and I think he recognized who I was. And we started talking about his new game, which is called Not Alone. And it's a card game for 2 to 7 players. And it's where one player is an alien player and the rest are like Marines, and they have to take him on. And he was talking about his game, and it sounded really interesting. The card art looked nice. And I said, I have to check it out when it's in English, because it was all in French. He said, yeah, be there at Essen, and we shall let you play it. So that's one of the people I saw. I managed to have a quick salute from Frederic Henry of Time Stories and Adventurers and things like that. He was demoing his new game, The Inventors, which is still in prototype form. I managed to brush shoulders with Bruno Feduti. Bruno Cathala was all the time doing interviews everywhere. I saw him. Give me a second. I need to do search on Board Game Geek for the name. Entertaining. Entertaining. Also had a good chat with Florent Toscano. I think I pronounced that right. He is a designer and head honcho at Jeu Opera, who is a small board game company. They've produced many little small games. ecological games as well. So the theme is about the environment, and also the games themselves are constructed out of eco-friendly stuff. So I had a good old chat with him, and I bumped into a couple of other people like Itai Perez, who you may know from the Dice Tower, does the show notes.
Yep.
He helps me out from time to time. We had a good laugh together, and we played a game together. And also got to meet someone else who his Board Game Geek name is Cyrix, but I can't remember what his real name is. And I met him a couple of times at other conventions, and he's a really friendly guy. So Cyrix, salute you. Salute. So that's some of the people that I met.
Yeah, you know, when you go to these conventions, you see so many people, you get to meet old friends. And so it's so hard when we talk about who did you meet, because you're going to leave somebody out, and you don't want to do that. So that's the hard part of this conversation. But, you know, at Origins, I had so many, probably one of the highlights of meeting people for me was as I was the king and we were demoing Royals, and all the people that came up and played the game that I got to interact with Royals in character was so much fun, and there was such positive experiences. And then a lot of my podcasting and media content providers, you know, that are in the industry, we got to connect with those. So it was really fantastic. Got to have dinner with Brian Pope, who I just love Brian. He's such a fun guy. But when we went to Dice Tower Con, I had a couple interesting things. I have an interesting story I think you might like. I was walking out a day early before the convention actually started, and I'm walking by the pool, and here's sitting Ignacy Chevacek from Portal Games and his lovely wife Mary and their daughter. And they invite me to, I said hi, they invited me to sit down, and we just chatted a little bit. We talked about some of the upcoming things going on, how their trip and all that. And as he said, we need to get some food for my daughter, and we haven't been able to get to the grocery store to stock it. Well, I had a rental car for an extra day, so I offered to take them up to a grocery store, and we ended up going to the Orlando Walmart that's near this place. This is a huge super Walmart, the biggest one I've ever seen. Totally chaotic. I could not believe just how much there was there. Anyway, nonetheless, we took them and spent about an hour at Walmart. They had never seen anything like this before, but we had so much fun just spending time shopping with them and developing a relationship. And so I treasured that moment, even though we were just kind of running around going to Walmart and all that kind of stuff. So nonetheless, that was a great experience. I also got to sit down and play several games, which we'll talk about in our good, bad, and the ugly segment, with Mike Fitzgerald, the living legend, Mike Fitzgerald.
Did you say that?
And I love Mike, man. That guy is so awesome. I also got some time to spend with Brian Pope and Richard Launius, Trey Lennox, Tony Galati from Arcane Wonders, and we were playing some prototype games by Richard Launius. That guy is amazing. I mean, he is brilliant. And then you're listening to Brian Pope, who is no slouch in his own right. I mean, he's a fantastic designer. And these other people who are in the industry, and being able to play test some of these games. I can't talk about them, but it was amazing. We had such a fantastic time. And to be able to be at a convention, I spoke with Eric Lang for a little while, and we talked about his new game coming up in 2017, Godfather. And talked to Pete Shirey from Cool Mini or Not, and he's actually doing some co-design work now with Richard Launius. And I mean, meeting all these people, Robert Burke, he showed us this little dragon game with his dragon cards that was so fun. Man, it was amazing, that game. Got to spend some time with Rick Scrand playing that game too. It was awesome. Then I got the opportunity to meet some dear people, Louis, Francis, and Joey, the Herbecks and Cantus. And we got to play several games with them, and we kept meeting throughout the convention. Oh, remember Philip Millman?
Yeah, he's on. Well, he was online a minute ago, and he's suffering from bad lag from the feed, unfortunately. So yeah, I remember Philip Millman.
Yeah,
to him.
well, Philip played, and we're going to talk about this in our highlight segment, but I got to play a game with him. And so anyway, met a lot of fantastic people. Sean and Raquel, of course, my good friends, and Alex from the Dukes of Dice. Oh, yeah, baby. What great fun to play games with them, and Max and Rory from the Board Game Library. So, all right. So I suppose we should go right into the good, the bad, and nuts. The good, the not so bad, and the ugly segment. Talk about the games that we played. Barry, what did you play?
Okay.
Put the music in later.
Yeah, I'll put that in later. Because it's like, in the middle of it, it's like brackets. One of the games I got to play was a new Space Cowboy game called Final Touch. In the game, it's a kind of push your luck, but at the same time, try to push everyone else's luck, kind of get bit kind of thing, where you're all painters working in the same workshop, and you are trying to replicate famous paintings. And you'll have these pictures, which are very beautifully drawn, of famous works of art with a little tweak here and there. You know, like there's the ballerinas, and in the background there's a jukebox and stuff like that. And there's Mona Lisa, and she's got red Indian paint on her face or something like that. So you have this card, and it has a requisite of colors that you need. And on your turn, you'll be playing cards from your hand which indicate a color, so green, blue, yellow, brown, and red. And you can either play 1, 2, or more cards from your hand to contribute towards this painting. If you're the last player to add the last colors to the painting and make it complete, you win the painting, which has some points on it. So that's why it's called the final touch. You'll put in the final touch and you win that card. So you don't want to put cards which are going to help out someone else later on down the road. You can also bodge the painting. You can add a color which is not needed, or a color which has already got its quota, and you can bodge the painting with a color. If it gets bodged 3 times, the person that played the 3rd card will have to give half the points to the other players playing at the game. So the game ends when someone gets 25 points. The game plays pretty quick. What do you think I think of this game?
Well, what was? Tell me the name of it again. I missed the first part.
It's called Final Touch.
Final Touch.
It's Space Cowboys. It's a game by Micah Elliott, who does normally dungeon crawling games. Like, this is a relatively very, very light kind of push your luck, play your cards right kind of game.
Yeah, I think you think it's not so bad.
Okay. It's not so bad.
Not so bad. And we have our Groundhog Day. Bill Murray saying, you thought this was the last conversation was good. The Groundhog is saying, make it stop.
Yeah, tying in with the Daja Vue theme that we have. Yes, it's not so bad. It is a very light, quick playing game. I've only played it as 2 players and 3 players. The 4-player mode is you play with a partner opposite you. So it's kind of like many card games where you have a colleague working for you, and you're working together to try and get the points. But at the same time, you're playing cards not to try to make the other opponents win. So it's very light, it's very quick, it's very beautifully drawn. It's fun. I think it's going to be just one of those games which is going to be like Get Bit. It's very much like Get Bit. It's going to be popular to some people, and some people it'd be just like, yeah, it's a nice filler. Too light.
Yeah, I getcha.
Yeah.
Well, I played a game from Portal Games called Cry Havoc. This is the new game that Ignacy Cevicek is bringing out. It's going to be at Gen Con. Mm-hmm. Cry Havoc is basically, it's like an area control game. It has miniatures. You have these different factions that you're playing with. It has a very unique battle system that you're going to have 3 different zones, and you're going to, take casualties in different ways depending on which zone that you go to. The Cry Havoc area control mechanism is you start moving onto the board, but then you have these troglodyte type of characters that are coming out on the go, and they're spawning in these different spots, and that's one player, and they start populating the board all over the place. There's some really neat card play that comes into this that gives you special abilities. You get to, it has a deck building element to it, and so you're adding these cards to your hand. You're able to use them to do different things, and the board game is fairly substantial as far as miniatures and the size, the footprint of the game. Definitely has a lot of player interaction. What do you think I think of Cry Havoc?
I don't know. It sounds a bit like what I just talked about, Final Touch, in a way. Very like kind of card game. So I'm going to say not so bad.
Nope, it's good.
Is it?
It's good.
Okay, you had me fooled with your tone of voice. I should have looked at the notes. I should have looked at the notes. Dukes of Dice are telling me that it's a blast. Ah. Then I would have got it. Do you want me to put the good logo up?
Yeah, go ahead and pop her up.
Okay.
The Good.
The Good is from Back to the Future.
Oh, so we got Marty McFly, and we got Doc Brown, and Marty's girlfriend. She goes, "Is this a dream?" And Marty says, "Doc, I have a life. I can't keep talking about conventions."
Can I do this? Can I do this?
Yes, please.
Great Scott! You've been to another convention. Oh no, that was rubbish. that was a bad Christopher Lloyd impersonation.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, I had to say good, and I'd actually, these are first impressions. I didn't get to play a full game. I only got to play a demo. So full disclosure on that. I don't know all the aspects of the game. I wouldn't be able to comment very intelligently about anything in my life, but but I haven't played it with multiple player counts or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But my first impression, this is fantastic. It's just great. The miniatures, the production is off the hook. I love the battle system. It just seems so innovative. Those top three places, and that game that goes in. Okay, based on the cards that I have, I can manipulate this. I can maybe move the order with a card I have. That was fantastic. I did that one time and was able to kind of mess over the other player because I had that card. He didn't know I had it. The area control, it feels in a sense like Kemet. You're kind of forced to go do things. You can't just sit around and turtle in this game, which I like that element of Kemet. It causes you to move through the board. The factions are fantastic. The player is very immersive. So I think this is going to be a super hit from Portal Games. Ignacy has done a really good job, and I think they just took it up another notch. Bam! Bam! Off the hook. Off the hook.
Off the hook, that is. I'm going to go get my nerd flag.
So what other game did you play?
Okay, what other game I played? I'm going to just quickly show you this. Going back to the Final Touch. There it is. That's what the Final Touch looks like.
Good.
As you can see, I've played it 3 times now because we now own a copy. So what else have I played? This game here, which is called, in French, it is Il était une forêt, which means there was a forest. Okay, it's a small card game, very much like what was the one I just talked about? Final Touch. I just know his brain is going. Brain hurts. Going back there, are we? What you're doing is, again, it's another one of these games, which is just like one I've just reviewed, Harold. If you've seen my video posted on YouTube. So yeah, players are building a forest. They start off with a tree stump, and each tree has 4 cards. So there's a bottom, middle, branching out, and then the treetop itself. And each of these cards has different animals on it. And so what you'll be doing is you'll have a hand of 4 cards, or 3 cards. You'll be playing one into your forest, so you'll be building up your tree. and then you'll be giving a card to another player, and they have to play it into their forest. And so you've got this kind of take that, screw your neighbor kind of gameplay going on. And the object of the game is to try and build a certain amount of trees, because what will happen is it'll give you points per tree. But for each tree that you have, if you have a collection of animals which have the same number, so if you built 3 trees and then you have 3 snakes, you'll score for the snakes. But if you have 4 monkeys, you won't score for the 4 monkeys. And if you have 2 crocodiles, you won't score for the 2 crocodiles. So you have to kind of make this equilibrium of trees to animals and have a bigger variety of animals. And so the game keeps going like that. You'll have 3 cards, you'll play one in your forest, you give one to someone else and try and screw them over. And the game goes until there are no more cards left.
How many cards are in the deck?
Ooh, I will have a look.
And so you can grab multiple sets, and you're trying to get multiple sets to match, right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It doesn't sound Board Game Geek, but I'm presuming around about 40 to 50 cards. Some of them have good things on them. Some of them have bad things on them. So like they might have tronçonneuse. Tronçonneuse, chainsaw. Had to translate there. That's pretty quick translation. It's a chainsaw, which will give you minus points. So yeah, I kind of take that very light playing game.
See you later, Sean. Dukes of Dice have to leave. I was looking at the chat here. Thanks for joining us, Sean. Have a safe trip. Talk later.
Ciao. So where were we?
Well, yeah, we were asking about the amount of cards, and you can get multiple sets. I don't know. It sounds kind of fun. I don't know if you're a big fan of that kind of take that, though. So I'm going to say not so bad.
Yeah, you're right. Again, not so bad. Yeah, it is a good game. It's very interesting. But it's it falls into that light category. So it was quick playing. So we played it once, and we enjoyed it. Well, I enjoyed it personally because I could see what I was doing while the other players were trying to guess. Should I go for trees? And I just bounced out nice. I didn't win, but I enjoyed the experience. It's one of those kind of like fillers, really quick to play, nice to look at, and a bit of a brain burner as well. Because as I said, you're trying to build a forest of X amount of trees and have X amount of animals which match, and you're trying to do this by playing just one card and try and screw someone over by giving them another card. So yeah, it's quite enjoyable, light filler.
Cool. Well, I got to play another game with the living legend Mike Fitzgerald.
Ooh.
It's a prototype, not a published game. So I don't know if that's great to put in this segment, but nonetheless, we played a game that he is calling Gangsters and Gumshoes. And it's basically a mystery rummy legacy style card game. So that's an interesting concept, actually having a card game that evolves. And they evolve in episodes, and he has 16 episodes. And basically in this game, it has the mystery rummy mechanic where you're grabbing these different cards, but you also have these different abilities that you are going to acquire that will allow you to pull these point cards from a general pool. But there's 2 of these point cards. Once we get to 3 and once we get to 6, that a card is going to be revealed that's in the slot, and it's almost like a crossroads card is the way I would define it. Maybe that's not accurate, but that's the way it felt to me.
Like Dead of Winter crossroads card.
Like in Dead of Winter, exactly. Where all of a sudden when you pulled that thing out, you had a choice of 2 different things, and that's how the game evolves. But in order to do that, you had to get these tokens. But we're collecting sets. We're trying to trying to determine if there's a social deduction aspect, but it's kind of a light one. You can play 5 to 6 players, I believe, and so we're trying to find out who is the murderer and that type of thing. And so we're all investigators. We're trying to investigate that, except for the person that's a murderer, by collecting these sets. Whoever has the whatever set is played down on the table that has majority, that's who we're saying is the murderer. They may or may not be. So there's a little misdirection and those type of things in the game as well. So what do you think I have to say about that?
Okay, I'm gonna go for broke and say that because you really enjoy the one and only Mr. Oh no, that's not how it goes. How does it go?
The living legend, Mike
Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald.
That's the one. Yeah, I'm gonna say you think this game is good because it's a light kind of, it's a rummy game with a theme on it. I can see you playing rummy quite a bit when you were younger, maybe with your dad or something like that. So
Yeah, we did play a lot of rummy as a kid. You're wrong. I'm going to say this is first impression. I played a prototype. I'll tell you my thoughts, but I said not so bad.
Okay. Oh, and what made it not so bad?
Well, this is the thing. I'm not a big social deduction game player. I love bluffing. I love those kind of things, but I've played a lot of Avalon. We've played Operation Faust. You know, you play these social deduction games, Murder in Hong Kong, Mysterium, those type of things, Spyfall. That it's just not the type of game that I really love. So I'm not saying the game isn't good. I'm saying for my personal taste, it's not this type of game that I'm going to get really excited about.
Okay.
I thought the mechanisms in the game were incredibly innovative because I mean, how can you not? I mean, I probably should rate it good, especially if it was produced, because it'll have the theme and it'll be produced in a way that is amazing. I'm sure you've got Mike Fitzgerald's pedigree. I think he's absolutely, and I just mean this with all my heart, I think he's a brilliant card game designer. He just understands card games. He understands card game mechanics. He makes those games immersive as card games. He did Diamonds, you know, he did Baseball Highlights 2045. I mean, he's all the Mystery Rummy series. And so the innovation of the game, the fact that you can make a card game, a legacy game that would be just yours after you're done, that's a game that you'll play it that way, it's just flipping brilliant. But
it wasn't your cup of tea, lovey, was it? It wasn't.
No, I said not so bad. I would definitely play it again. I'm looking forward to trying it again and see how it plays with multiple people and how it evolves, and that might move it up a notch. This is just a first impression. I definitely wouldn't rate it bad or ugly. It's a not so bad. It's pretty good. You know, it's kind of where I'm at on that one.
Yeah.
So did you have another game you wanted to talk about?
No, but I can do if you want to. I can make one up. I'll make one up. No, go on.
Well, I played a lot of different games, but there's just one quick little game that I'll make note of. It's from Schmidt Games in Germany, and it's called Team Play. And we had an opportunity to play this with Francis and Lewis and Joey Cantu and Mike Fitzgerald. Lewis and Francis were huge fans of Mike Fitzgerald, but Francis, the wife is a little shy, and she didn't want to be too forward with the designer. And I just gave her a little bit of advice, and I'll give anybody that's listening a little bit of advice. If you go up to a game designer and you greet them and let them know how much you enjoy one of their games. Maybe you have a game that you really love, and you tell them that, say, I just wanted to say hi and wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed your game. Now, depending on their schedule and who's around them, you might not be able to have a lengthy conversation, but generally, if you just go up to these people, they love to hear feedback about what they've created, because their desire in creating that, it's not just financial. It's they want to bring joy to people's lives. And when they do that, it's very, very rewarding. And so I'd encourage you to jump in there and talk with these designers. By and large, most of them are very friendly. You know, I know a few that aren't so, but most are. Mike Fitzgerald, wow, what a gracious man. We're sitting at the table. Mike walks around the corner, and I said, Mike, I just want to introduce you to these people. These are some of your biggest fans. And before you know it, they're talking about all the different games. Mike is telling them why he created this game and how and whatever. And then he sits down with us, and he plays Team Play with us. This is a game where you can play you play partners and you can play up to 6 people, and you've got these little cards that are goal cards, and they're very simple, like you're trying to get pairs of a certain color, or you're trying to get a run of odd or even cards, or you can get a straight, different objectives cards. These objectives are worth points, but you're trying to do them as partners, and you got up to 6 cards that can be in your hand at the end of your turn, or at the beginning of your turn, and you hand these cards to your partner. So it's equally important to fulfill your partner's mission as it is to fulfill your own mission. You're working together, and I believe whoever gets eight of these missions objectives first triggers the end of the game, and then you add up all those points, and you're playing back and forth, and you have a draw pile that everybody's grabbing from, and it's from Schmidt Games. What do you think I think of that?
Okay. You like it's Card Game Central here today.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that you think this one's good as well, because it has that kind of old school look. I've just looked up on Board Game Geek, plug there, and yeah, it looks like one of those kind of games that you would probably really enjoy.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's good.
Okay, we're rocking.
Ta-da!
Oh, where's the graphic gone?
Very doublet. Twitter, T-Balance Power.
Oh, right.
It's good. You'll be able to edit it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so it's fantastic. It's good. What a great, quick, accessible game. Mike was able to teach us it in just a few minutes. All partners were able to be engaged. It played fairly quick. It's a small game, but it was just so interesting, all the different combinations, when to kind of build up your hand, when to play right away and try to take a easier objective, or sometimes the way the cards were flipping, you couldn't get in there. Mike Fitzgerald said something to me when he went to the Gathering of Friends, which is a private invitation conference in Niagara Falls. He said this was one of the hits of the con. They kept playing it over and over and over. These titans of industry, titans of design are playing this little card game because it was so engaging, and they just loved it. As I understand it, it's not available in America. He had to pay quite a bit actually to get it shipped to him. So I would love to get that game. It fits a lot of niches, especially when you've got people over. I think this is a very great gateway game. Okay. So we played it twice, but it's good.
Oh, cool.
So let's go on and just ask, we'll wrap up with a couple thoughts, but what was your highlight of your convention experiences here?
Surviving it without having to go to hospital was one of the highlights. Which is a great change from my convention schedule. The highlights were just standing and talking to people was fantastic. That was the best part. I enjoyed the chatting to the designers and the publishers more than I enjoyed playing the games, because it was just this really friendly atmosphere. People were willing to tell me secrets about things that are coming. People were open about ideas and how to
There's nothing under the hat. People are chatting about my hat. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, it's the living legend under the hat. So for me, the highlight was just surviving it and meeting people, basically. And I had a really good time. Really good time. And the food was good as well.
The food was good. Wow. Well, when I saw your pictures, it looked like you were having a great time. It looked like the weather, the outdoor environment was fantastic. I had so many wonderful experiences. I helped out Arcane Wonders a little bit in the booth with teaching royals to people. We had an amazing time going out to dinner a couple times with Brian Pope and Tony Galati, and that play testing that we were able to do with Richard Launius and Trey Lennox. It was wonderful hanging out with a lot of our friends. But the highlight for me, I've never done this before. I never really felt comfortable even thinking I could compete in it. I just love to have fun with games, but I don't go and study strategies and just pour into how I'm going to win the game. I just want to have fun with it. And we had a Baseball Highlights 2045 tournament. And several people that I knew, Rob Oren from the Dice Tower Network, what a wonderful guy. Had just great times with him. Philip Millman joined in on this tournament. Kent Davies, Kent Davies, is he here?
No,
Philip,
yeah.
Philip, yeah, Royals is a very good game. You're exactly right. It is a good game. And then Alex from the Dukes of Dice was there. Max, who's been he's part of the Duchy. Mike Fitzgerald, the living legend himself, was there. Kent Davies was there. And so we had this fantastic experience. Eagle Griffin Games was so gracious to us. They let us use some of their double play mats, which are totally off the hook. Rick Strand designed these double play mats when he was with Eagle Griffin, and you see them on the table. You go to my Facebook page, you're going to see all kinds of stuff at Board Game Theater, and you're going to see these pictures. It was fantastic. I beat Mike Fitzgerald 2-1 in a game in my first game. We each played 3-game series, and you played 9 games to see the best record of 9 games. And I think he was buttering my bread and being really nice to me, because I think he could clean my clock anytime he wanted to. But I nonetheless beat Mike Fitzgerald, the living legend. And then Philip Millman and I played. This was our ongoing gag, but Philip, he took me down 2-1. But we had close games. It was good. In my third game, I'm playing with Max, okay? Max drafts 2 Magna Gloves. 2 Magna Gloves, Lou Leathers and Mookie Rivers. He gets these Magna Gloves. They allow you to cancel 2 hits. Well, we have overtime games, our first 2 games. That's how close it is. We're 1-1. The winner of the third game that we're playing is going to give us a record of 5-4. Either I will be 4-5 or I'll be 5-4, and vice versa. And then the person who's 5-4 is going on to the next level for the championship. It came down to the very last card. I had to pitch hit. And when I pitch hit, I was able to pull a card. I needed to cancel his hit.
Don't spoil the ending, Philip. Don't spoil the ending. He's telling this really good story.
If I would have got that a card played, if it would have canceled the hit, I would have won. And we're waiting in anticipation. It's so tense. I flip over the card, nothing. and so he ends up going on. Well, then we switched tables and all of that, and we had 3 prizes. Eagle Griffin was so gracious. They gave us a play mat. They gave us the new baseball meeples from Meeple Source. These things are awesome. And a whole set of teams. And anyway, Max goes on in the finals against Robert Orrin, and he goes to the 5th game, and they are going into double overtime, double extra innings, and he ends up winning it. And so congratulations, Max, Robert Orrin, and Ron Shady actually took 3rd. And you'll see all those pictures, but I don't know. I just, the fact that I got to play in a tournament like this was reasonably competent and really was competitive. Be able to play with Mike Fitzgerald, to be able to play with my friends on one of my favorite games. I don't know. Everything was worth just that experience. That's how awesome it was. If you ever have a chance to play at BGG Con, we're going to organize it again, and we're going to have a baseball highlights tournament. This thing is, man, I just had such a blast. That was wonderful. So thanks for everybody that joined in on that. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's the great thing about conventions. You'll meet people there who are like-minded to you, because you may not have like-minded people around in your game group or around in your family. So there's always that good chance that you'll play with people that want to play the type of games that you want to play. That leads me on to Shelf of Shame. we had a question from Kabuki Kid, who asks, how high is your Shelf of Shame? A minute.
Oh no. I just got back from a convention. Okay, Kabuki Kid, I'm going to see if I can do this. This might not work. Okay, this is a YouTube exclusive. There it is. There it is. No, it ain't it. That ain't it. Come on. It's coming. It's coming. Wait for it. Wait for it. There it is. The Shelf of Shame.
Dungeon Pets is still there. Tobago is there as well. Oh,
Look at them all. Look at them all.
oh dear.
And sad to say, a few more games made the list because they had a 50% off cool stuff the last day. And I just couldn't help myself. I have a problem. I need help.
Cool stuff!
Well, there you go. That screwed up my whole setup.
Oh,
All right.
This out.
Cool.
No.
Well,
Back
that
up.
was our convention. So, Barry, just in conclusion, what do you have to say about conventions?
They're a great day out for the family. And as I said, they are a great chance to meet other people, play with people that are like-minded or maybe not like-minded. They are just a different kind of experience, I think. And as I said, I really enjoyed just chatting to people more than I enjoyed playing games. Maybe even because it's in France and I have to listen to the rules in French, and for my brain it has to work a little bit harder. But I enjoyed the ambience. I enjoyed the conversations that we had, and and I just had something else, and it's just gone out of my head. And maybe I should. That's why you wear a hat, to keep with those thoughts in there so they don't escape.
I just keep game components in my hat.
I had something profound to say there, and it's gone from my brain.
No, you got wisdom. Come on, profound man.
Profound man. Yeah, the only problem with conventions is there's never enough time to do all the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing. It may be a 1 day convention, it may be a 5-day convention, and you still won't get all the things that you want to get done because it's not physically possible, it's not mentally possible. And don't try and force yourself to do it. Just take it easy. You don't want to stress yourself out. You don't want to undersleep. You don't want to underwash. Nothing.
Yes, no underwashing.
Yeah.
And don't wash your underwears either.
Yeah, we don't want to smell your nerd flag. We'd rather see it than smell it. Yeah, that's my conclusion for conventions. They are great if you like socializing. If you're not too big on social and you have your own little game group and you're quite happy to play stuff there, then. And again, conventions are great for testing prototypes and seeing what's new. So.
Yeah, I think what for me, it's the same thing that game conventions, they're wonderful opportunities to see what's new, wonderful opportunities to be able to add to your shelf of shame games that you won't get to play for a while. But I think it's also an opportunity for I had this thought the other day because we had went out to dinner with these new people that we had met. And that time that I spent having dinner with them was just as important as the time that I had playing games with them. I love playing games, but for me, this is about relationships. And that's what I'm trying to do with Board Game Theater and with our Berkey and Badger show. It's about engaging people. It's related around board games, which we love. And so we're all passionate about that, of course. But it's also about the interaction and all of those type of things and these experiences that you have. And each different convention is going to give you a different experience. And this is where I think that's really important. Yeah, I'll let you talk about Trick Tack here. Perdi de Luki. See?
No, I've got nothing else to say. I just thought I'd fill in a blank there.
No, I just think that the different conventions, and I think this is an important consideration, when you're picking a convention, you need to know yourself. Gen Con, it's a huge fair. It's incredibly crowded. You have amazing things to take a look at. They're wonderful things. There's less opportunity to just sit down and play a game. When I was at Gen Con last year, I played like 2 games, and we didn't get into gaming till evening because we were doing a lot of things, working with one thing, but you know, it's chaotic. There's so much to see. It's a good chaotic, but it's big.
Yeah.
Origins is a little different situation. You're able to see a lot of new stuff, but you're able to play a lot of games. You go to Dice Tower Con and BGG Con. These are gamer cons. These are where you sit down and play games all day, and you play games all night. We played a game of Dune with Dukes of Dice, and Chris Holm has this tricked out version that he made of the game Dune. It was unbelievable, but we played till 4 in the morning. You know, about 2 o'clock, everything shut off in my head. I was so out of it.
Yeah.
But I was so glad to be there with these people, and Rory from Board Game Empire Board Game in Albuquerque, and Tony was there, and it was super fun. Never let Sean be Atreides. That's all I can say. If you play, never let Sean be Atreides. He got to play with Raquel, his wife, and it was a great experience. So if you want a gamer con, go to BGG Con, go to Dice Tower Con. If you like that more family, if you will, gaming environment. If you like the show, you like all the glitz and glimmer and all the bells and whistles, try Origins first maybe. And then if you're really into it, go check out Gen Con, see what you think. They're all going to give you different experiences, and that's really what I think conventions do for you.
Yeah, and they get rid of Pokemon Go as well. So.
Oh, good grief. Pokemon Go. Everybody's walking around. Everybody's walking into each other. Everybody just, all of a sudden they're walking, they're looking at their phone. All of a sudden they look up. And all of a sudden they're walking again.
Oh, dear. Anyway, we're getting off subject again. Sorry.
Well, that was the convention experience this year. That was crazy. Everybody was launching or luring Pokemon.
No.
Hey, Barry, thanks so much again. This was a great time talking about the games that we played, the people that we met, giving some perspective about our experiences with gaming conventions. And I would encourage all of you to take a look at the different offerings. There's some regional conventions too that you might find that are more affordable maybe, or smaller, that gives you a first entry point if you've never gone to one. One thing too, I'd just like to say about Dice Tower Con, I had so many people come up to me that had recognized me from either the Dice Tower Network Board Game Breakfast show or had seen our Board Game Theater episodes. One guy came up to me and he said, I watch your Board Game Theater episodes, and I want you to know how much I enjoy them, and thank you for producing them. And I had several people say similar things, but this guy in particular said this to me, and I said, well, which ones have you watched? And he goes, well, I watched all of them. And when he said that, something just hit me like, wow, I really, really am glad that you shared that with me. Thank you, because that's what we're trying to do, is trying to do something fun, and hope we can do a good and better job of that in the future, bringing joy to people's hearts. And anyway, that was a really positive experience for me too at the convention. So if you see any of us, you see Barry at a convention, you're over there in France, or you're at Essen, please come up and talk to Barry. You see us at a convention, I'll be at Gen Con as the king. Come and talk to us. We would love to hear from you. Yeah, Barry, he's so wonderful. He does 5-minute massages too, I understand.
Yeah. So come up to me and ask for a 5-minute massage, and I'll give you a 5-minute massage. I'm never gonna live that down now.
All right, with that, Barry, why don't you send us off? Do you have any final thoughts?
Yes, thanks for watching, people. Yeah, let us know right on our Board Game Geek thingy. Where's our Board Game
Guild number 2248.
Yes, right. And tell us, what's your favorite convention? Why is it your favorite convention? Where is that graphic that I need? And let us know. You know, is there anything you'd like to see in the show? Is there any guests that you'd like us to have? We want some feedback. Did you want Pikachu to come on? We could get that arranged, obviously, very easily, being a live YouTube. Yeah, right, whatever. Let us know. Go to our sites. We've got boardgametheatre.com, and we've also got boardgameseverybodyshould.com. go and check out our guild. Go and check us out on Facebook. Watch our videos. Have a laugh, because that's all we're doing. Look out for this audio podcast coming pretty much soon. And hopefully we will catch you around. Maybe I will come to America. And maybe you will come to France. Go to Essen. Yeah. Essen's in France.
That'd be awesome.
And visit the Louvre. And Paris.
Yeah. I wanted to go to Paris de Lucchi with you. Join us at boardgametheater.com and also join us on Board Games Everybody Should. Love to interact with you guys. Thanks again for listening. Kabuki Kid, Philip Millman, all you other guys that are Ron Shady and Dukes of Dice, and all you guys, thanks so much for joining in, and have a great day. And with that,
we're so glad we had this time together, and now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online. Berkey and Badger will be back in no time.